Morning, dearest brothers and sisters. It is Monday. I don't actually know the date. It's the 14th, I think. I think it is the 14th. Either way, they're all starting to kind of blend in together, working from home, and it is a blessing, that's for sure. They sent all the kids home. So my daughter's home, my wife's home. She lost her job a little while back here, but it's all working out exactly the way that it's supposed to. We're all here at home, and it's been a blessing. It's been awesome. I see that today that they're starting to roll out the jab here in Canada. So I want to pray to the Father that people that are on the fence to understand what they're getting themselves into. And although I personally do not feel that it is the mark of the beast, it is the road there too. And whatever it's going to do to your body at that point, there's a part of me that feels even maybe this first round isn't going to do anything because it's a 2-part jab. And I almost feel like the first round isn't going to do anything. It's the second one, because the first one's going to be like, see, and look at how many different companies that are doing it, dear brothers and sisters, and the timing of them all coming out at different times. It's just, again, when you can see things, you see them. And I just got this gut feeling that that's what's going on. This first round of, all the frontline workers and teachers and whoever that, nothing's going to happen and everything's going to be like, oh, see, look at just completely fine. Everything's fine. The old sleight of hand. So either way, I'm just praying for all the families that are on the fence or, have made up their mind and are, I pray that the Father intervenes because prayer does help, dear brothers and sisters. And I just want to speak to, there's a many of people out there right now, fellow brothers and sisters that need our prayers, need our help, that are either physically drained, spiritually drained, financially drained, whatever the case may be. I pray that the Father intervenes and helps them. If you find it in you to help, dear brothers and sisters, the purpose of why we have anything is so that we can give it back to our fellow brothers and sisters. Now, if it's not in your situation right now to give, by all means, dear brothers and sisters, obviously prayer. Prayer is the most important thing that we can do for a fellow brother and sister that is in need. That's for sure. So I woke up this morning and, was kind of getting ready for work, and, I feed the cats every morning. My wife and I rotate out, and, my one cat he's meowing just heavy. And it was irritating me because I know my wife was still awake and my wife was still sleeping and my daughter was still sleeping, and I just didn't want them to wake, but I was starting to get agitated. And, I could feel the Father in my spirit. That's a test that he gives me every morning, not to get upset over things like that, especially over a beautiful animal, his creation, that all it wants to do is eat, and I'm worried about, waking my wife and daughter up. And so that passed, dear brothers and sisters, and I saw, and this is going to sound crazy, but this is how tests work, dear brothers and sisters. And I'm going to get to the meat of the lesson here pretty quick. But so I was getting ready and getting washed up, and there was hair. Like my wife and my daughter have very, very long hair, like in the middle of their back, kind of long hair, both of them. My daughter, like, she's never had a real haircut. It's always been just like little pieces of hair off. So she's got really, really long hair, and so does my wife. And so these long strands of hair are in the shower. And again, I was agitated again. And then I could feel the Father put it on my spirit again. Like, what? Why are you upset right now? And I'm like, you're right. You're right, Father. What am I doing being upset? And I could feel him asking me, no, I want to know, why are you upset right now? Let's figure this out together. Why are you mad about this? And so he put it on my spirit about the food, and he made me see and made me realize that it was because I didn't want to wake up my wife early. And he said, okay, and dig deeper. And I go, okay, well, if I wake her up early, she's going to be agitated, and from being agitated, she's going to be agitated towards me, and therefore getting me agitated. And it was just this moment of clarity that he let me see what the root problem, what the true problem of the anger was. And it was me. It was the fact that I didn't want to agitate somebody else because I knew they would be agitated because it would agitate me. Now, how silly is that, dear brothers and sisters? That I'm already deflecting something because I'm worried about somebody getting me mad when I'm supposed to be the one asking for our Father to strip me of anger so that I don't get anger, period. But at the same time, he wanted me to understand, you didn't want to make your wife upset. I understand that, but you didn't do it for that reason. You did it because in the end, you're putting the blame on your anger on her. And it just kind of blew my mind. And so then he made me think about the hair. You know, what's the problem with the hair? Well, the hair is that, you know, the odd time when I shave, I leave a little bit of shaving clippings around, and I get a little bit of grief for it. And so right away, I was getting triggered and upset because, you know, my wife's leaving her hair behind, but yet who is she? What the audacity of her to tell me to clean my face trimmings? So look at this petty ridiculousness, dear brothers and sisters, that the enemy throws at us daily. Whatever our weakness is, and mine is anger. And it's not like I'm a raging maniac. It's just I get agitated, I guess, easily, and so that is my cross to bear, dear brothers and sisters. And so I'm trying to conquer that, and I'm trying to get over that. But it was phenomenal how he put it on me to really dig deep and to try to find out what the purpose of it was. And to go back to the hair, it was because at the end of the day, it was over my own anger. And when it came to the food in the morning, it was over my own anger. But how easy was it for me to put it back onto somebody else, you know, to pass that buck off? And again, it reminds me a lot of the Garden of Eden. And when our Father came and asked Adam, what's going on here? Oh, well, it wasn't me, it was her. You know, quickly threw Eve under the bus. And then Eve, same thing, she never took ownership. She threw the snake under the bus. Now, I always think to myself, you know, what if one of them took ownership and just said, you know what, yes, you told us we shouldn't have done that, and we did it. And at the end of the day, our lives can be surrounded by all these what ifs. And they're useless. They're actually a waste of time is what they are. And I got to learn to stop doing that. What if this or what if... Well, the what if is if it was supposed to happen, it would have happened, so it didn't. So stop wasting any more time worrying about a what if, dear brothers and sisters. There's no point to it. It's just the enemy squeezing you of one more precious second of time that you have on this earth. So don't do it. And so you've got this situation where I'm sitting there and I'm reflecting on the fact that, you know what, my weakness, my biggest weakness, the one where the dart always goes through is the area, obviously, that he's trying to reveal to me, to, instead of, you know, passing that buck on like Adam and Eve did in the garden, to take ownership and realize that it is my weakness, and that the only person that's going to be able to take that away from me is Jesus Christ. He is the only one that's going to be able to remove that anger from me. And there's nothing that we go through, there's nothing that we experience that's even worth a second of our agitation, of our anger. And I know a lot of you are going through some tough times right now. A lot of you. And I love you. And all the ones that I do know your situations personally, you're going to get through it. And I want you to understand that the reason why you're going through it is because you're built to be able to go through it. You're at that level to go through it. It's the ones that don't go through anything that are, you know, walking through this life blind because they don't even understand what it's all about. And I'm not saying that this world is supposed to be about anguish and that we're supposed to go through anguish. But again, as I've stated in many videos, the only way we're going to get to where we need to go is by going through these situations. Because for one, it exposes our weaknesses and shows us where we are lacking. And two, it gives us practice. It gives us an opportunity, a choice to use that free will so that we can conquer that sin and get rid of it and bind it. Get it booted out the door, dear brothers and sisters. So I just wanted to come over here and say hi to you guys. And whatever the weakness is that you have, whatever the sin that you have, and there's my light flickering again, by the way, dear brothers and sisters. That was wild. I encourage you to really examine it for what it is, and it's never surfaced. And there, I just flickered again. It's never surfaced problems, dear brothers and sisters. It's always deeper. And that's what our enemy will do. He'll spin it off to make it look like it's something superficial on the surface, and that's not you, it's somebody else that's causing you to feel that way. No, nobody can cause you to feel any way. The bottom line is, when you are Christ-like, when you have Christ inside of you, you are loving, unconditionally loving. So much so that you love your enemies. You pray for them. You can't get any more loving than to love your neighbors. And I mean to love your enemies. And I mean the ones that are coming against you heavy. And I'm talking aggressively, physically. I'm not talking about just having a disagreement with somebody or somebody that gets you agitated. I mean somebody that is actually coming against you because they in their spirit hate you. To pray for them. There's many a story of prophets of the past and disciples that some very, very bad things happened to them. And all the while those things were happening, they were still praying. They were still administering to the person that was harming them. Because that's what love is, dear brothers and sisters. That's what true Christ-like love is to be able to look your enemy in the eye as he harms you and tell him that you love him and that everything is going to be okay. So I pray that you're going to be okay, dear brothers and sisters, and you will. The key is having faith and knowing that whatever you're praying for is going to happen. And I think it was Peter, he was locked up, and they were praying for his release. And finally, when our Father intervened and he came to the door knocking, they didn't believe it was him. They had a hard time believing it. So there they were praying for his release. And then when he was released and came to the door, they didn't believe it was him. So that shows you, dear brothers and sisters, what is the point at the end of the day of having faith and praying for something that when it actually comes through, you don't recognize it for what it is? Having faith, true faith, is praying, knowing that our Father's going to give it to you. And then when it happens, you understand that he loves you so much, that's the reason why you got it. So have faith, dear brothers and sisters. Keep on keeping on. I love you dearly. And I'll be praying for you, as I know you'll be praying for me. And Father willing, I will definitely do another one, and we will chat soon. I love you. Goodbye.